Hello, welcome to RC Video Reviews. Tonight we're taking a look at the T-Motor AM600 Combo, and before I get into the material, I have to let you know this video is sponsored by T-Motor, who sent me the combo for review. They contacted me, they've been apparently watching my channel and said, hey, we like your stuff. We want to know if you'd like to take a look at some of our fixed wing products. And I said, absolutely, because if you know anything about the hobby, you know T-Motor's got a very, very good reputation in the quad space. So they've been making quad motors for a long time, and I've got a bunch of T-Motor motors on quads. So, when they asked about the fixed wing combo, I said, absolutely, I'd love to. And I'll also point out that if you're not aware, these combos are frequently being sold now on Extreme Flight. So Extreme Flight is using T-Motor hardware in combos they sell on their website. So as you know, Extreme Flight, top shelf stuff. And if those guys are testing out T-Motor and they like it, it's worth taking a look. Just make it that simple. It's worth taking a look. And I've already got some T-Motor gear in other planes, so I already have some kind of firsthand knowledge here on what's going on. And this looks to me, the screen, it looks to me like it is off just a little bit. Is the screen off? What am I missing here? I'm looking at the screen in the monitor, and it looks like down at the bottom, it's cut off for some reason. Interesting. And it does not look that way on my streamer. I'm going to reload this real quick and see if it's doing the same thing when I reload the screen. So just a moment, guys. It does look like it's doing it down at the bottom too. Let me make an adjustment, I guess. Let me see if I can make an adjustment and rearrange the way this is showing up in the monitor on the channel. Interesting. Do you guys see a black bar down at the bottom? I do, and I'm not sure if it's something to do with the way the window's sizing. I really don't know. Okay, it looks like I just stretched it out and it looks like it's better now. That was kind of weird. Okay, let's get back on track. Sorry about that. Weird stuff with YouTube. I saw a black bar across the bottom of my screen for some reason. Okay, so let's get back on track. Anyway, what I thought we'd do first is we're going to do some cool stuff tonight. It's not just going to be opening the box and looking at the hardware. I also have the AMLINK programming card, so we're going to go through that. I'm going to show you how to connect that and set it up. I'm going to show you a little bit about some of the capabilities that device has in terms of programming the ESC. I'm going to show you a little bit of nuance because there are some things you can do in the programming software, and there are some things you do with the AMLINK directly. So I'm going to show you a little bit about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the telemetry, and of course, we're going to talk about specs. So you're going to see some cool stuff tonight other than just the unbox, right? We're going to cover a lot more than just taking a look at the hardware. But I think what we'll do first is we will start by taking a look at some of the specs. I'd like to get the specs out of the way so you understand what you're up against when you're looking at this hardware. So we'll go to that first. We'll take a look at specs. So first up, the combo is comprised of an AM600 motor. And they have other combos. I'm talking about the combo that I'm looking at tonight. That is comprised of the AM600 motor. There are two versions of the AM600. They've got a 525 and a 555 kV. And they also have in the combo an AM116, that's 116 amp ESC. And additionally, one of the options you can get is the AMLINK programming card. So if you want the programming card, you can buy that. I would kind of recommend it if you're going to get into the T-Motor ecosystem because I'll show you, you'll see it, but they use a BL Heli, which is actually kind of cool. It's a 32-bit firmware for ESCs, and I think what's going on is T-Motor is bringing some of their expertise from the quad space into the fixed wing space, and that doesn't suck. That's actually a good thing. So anyway, AM116 amp ESC, the AMLINK programming card, and the carbon fiber hybrid prop, which is actually really cool. And we're going to go back to the big camera now, and I'm going to show you this hardware inside the box. And one thing it's kind of like a trick. I want to make sure if you get this combo that you pay attention to this because it'd be really easy to miss. So first, here's the prop. This is a 16x8. It's a hybrid carbon fiber prop. And what I would say about this prop, I just want to bring up another prop. I'm not going to show you the logo because it's not my intention to bash this. This is a well-known, this is like these props are high quality props, right? This is a high quality prop. So I'm just showing, what I want to do is show you a little bit of flex. So I'm just kind of giving that a little bit of a bend. So there's the bend. Now here's the T-motor prop, the hybrid carbon fiber. And when I put the same kind of pressure on it, you can see how much less that bends. So very rigid prop. It's a very, very rigid prop. I have been flying one of these on my 60-inch Yak, and I like it a lot. It makes very good power, and it sounds fantastic. You guys know how an unbalanced prop sounds, right? Okay, so there's the prop. Here's a look at the motor. Nice packaging, by the way. Nice, dense, hard foam rubber. The ESC, the motor, the programming card, all separated out. So here's the motor. One thing I really like about the motor, the T-motor, is they've got the bullets already soldered on. That's great. And we're going to cover the details of this in a little bit, so I'm not going to go through that now. I want to talk about the prop. So we'll take the AMLINK programming card out, and then we'll take the ESC out of the box. And now here's the part that you can really miss easy. Do you guys see it down there? Make sure if you get into this box that you open it up, because the first time I did this, I didn't realize, but they include, oh, here's the hardware, the mounting hardware, a couple more bullets for your other side if you need to use them, and a fan for the ESC, which is really nice. But there's a capacitor and some mounting screws to screw the ESC down to the mounting plate, and then keep digging. It's like digging for gold in here. Ta-da, look at that, another prop. These are about 13 bucks a piece for an equivalent wood prop. I don't see them listed on the T-motor website, so I don't think you can buy these individually yet. But I would have to say I would expect to pay a little more than $13. I'd say let's assess a value of about $20 to these 16x8 props, and you get two of them. So it's $40 worth of props. Very nice. And they both spin the same direction, in case you're wondering. They're both the same Ford tractor props. That's what they are. Okay, so that's it. That's what's inside the box. And I'm going to set the box aside now because we don't need that anymore. And we're going to go back to some of the specs. I'll put this out so we have a good look at what's going on. And we're going to go back to the blackboard and continue on with the specs. So that's what you get in the box: the motor, the ESC, the AMLINK, and the prop, okay? Now, let's see. Specification-wise, let's cover some details. On the ESC, it is an AM116. It sells individually for $149. If you get it outside of the combo, you're looking at $149. It weighs 113 grams. It's good for 3 to 8S, so you can go up to 8S on this one if you want. The power, obviously, this is where the label comes from. It's 116 amps continuous with a 136 amp burst. The BEC is capable of 5.8. I'm going to show you how to configure this. So I had to figure this out. I'll show you how to do it. 5.8, 7.4, 8.2 volts. It does have a cooling fan, capacitor, and mounting hardware, which I showed during the unbox. Okay. The AM600 525 kV motor individually sells for about $129 if you buy it by itself. And it is good for about 1,968 watts or 7,600 grams of thrust. The weight is 360 grams. It's a 20-pole motor. Obviously, they recommend the ESC, the AM116. The recommended battery is 6S, so you're looking for 22 to 25 volts on this one. The recommended prop range, 15x8 to 17x8. Of course, this one is right in the middle. The one that they include in the combo is the 16x8, so right in the middle. The recommended all-up weight for a 3D plane is 3 to 3.8 kilograms, which really is about a 60 to 65-inch plane or a 70 to 80E sport plane. So a little bit of a bigger sport plane if you're flying, if you need power for a sport plane. The shaft diameter, 8 millimeters, and I will show you guys that because that's one of the questions that normally comes up is the shaft millimeter. So I actually have my handy ruler here, and we're going to measure it there at 7.9. So there we go. 8 millimeters on the shaft, and there's a 3 millimeter adjustable back plate. This is one of the things that I really like about these motors. I think it's very clever. If you pull this prop back plate off, you notice that the shaft has a flat spot right there and right there on the back. And what that allows you to do is you get about a 3 millimeter adjustment. You see the grub screw right there? That grub screw settles into that flat spot. So you get about a 3 millimeter adjustment to close the gap between your spinner back plate and your cowl, which I think is very, very cool. That's a nice touch. Why not? You know, that's very, very cool, actually. I like that. Very nice touch. And then let's see, it's got a twin layer hollowed shaft with open bottom design to save weight. And I want to show you that too. Obviously there's a shaft. So if you have a spinner that's got a front screw, you can thread that in there. And that is tapped, by the way. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but you can drive a screw in there. Hopefully, yeah, can you see that? Hopefully the camera's getting that. But anyway, that is tapped in there. And then the bottom being an open design, this is one of the other features I like about this motor so much. If you've ever built a plane, you know what a pain in the neck it is to get the cross mount, the radial mount, screwed onto the firewall while you're holding the weight and trying to get the blind nut in the back and the screw in the front. And you got to get your driver. You know what I'm talking about? You're trying to get your driver right into that cross mount and not scratch your can. You know what I'm talking about? This is such a nice feature. Look at this. No weight. You take the motor off, and here's your radial mount. So you have the ability to use this to mount it on your firewall, get things lined up where you want them. And then once you're done with that, then you can take the motor and check this out. It just sets into that mount, the radial mount like that, and a couple of screws, a little bit of Loctite, and that locks the motor in place. Very nice design, very handy. I like it a lot. So anyway, the open bottom design, this is what I was talking about. And when you look at this motor, one of the things that was obvious to me, aside from the machining quality, which is very good, is there is no extra weight on this. There's no extra, no extra can weight. They carved the top out, a lot of airflow going out through the top of the motor, and the machining on top, very cool looking. So red anodized with gray and the diamond cut bevel edges all along the side. When we look at the windings, I don't see any issues on the inside on the windings. Everything inside looks very clean. And then on the bottom, on the strain relief, check out the strain relief. They actually have this metal hoop right here. So your three-phase wire comes off the bottom of the motor through that metal hoop and a very heavy piece of shrink wrap, shrink tubing, and there's your strain relief. So really nice job. You can feel safe to bend that and move it up, and you know that that's not going to put any tension on the wires joining the motors and the windings on the inside of the motor. So overall, I'd say construction quality on these is superb. Fit and finish is excellent. There's a little E-clip on the bottom with a hex nut if you need to take the shaft out and start separating things. If you have to do a rebuild, hopefully you don't, but in case you do, it looks like the motor comes apart fairly simple, not too much effort there. So in terms of fit and finish and the way the motor looks, I give it top marks. And again, this motor is not new to me. I have this exact motor on my 60-inch yak. So, and that airplane has all the power. Just go back and watch my yak videos. You'll see what I'm talking about. All the power. Oh, in case you're wondering, there will be a follow-up video. This is not going to be a Hanger Queen motor. You guys, I want everyone that knows the channel, sit down and brace yourself, grab your armrest, sit down, hold on, because I've got news for you. I'm going to be taking a Sunny Sky out, and I'm going to be replacing it with a T-motor. And this is going to go in literally one of my favorite all-time airplanes. That's the 60-inch Laser V3. That's where this is going. It's going in that plane. So brace yourself. I like the Laser V3 a lot, and this motor and ESC combo is going in that plane. All right, so that's the motor. The AMLINK programming card, we're going to cover this in some detail in just a little bit, so hang tight. We're going to go through this, but a very simple programming card. Notice right here, it's got a USB-C interface. That's for connecting it to your computer and using BL32 to configure your ESC. So again, BL32, you can configure it on your computer. You can also do some configuration work with this little set button. I will describe those parameters to you in just a few minutes, so hang tight. We're going to come back to that. And then regarding the ESC, pretty typical ESC. You've got one wire coming off the bottom for telemetry. Now, the thing I want to tell you about telemetry, there are 3 telemetry modes supported on this ESC. You've got FTABA, FreeSky, and Jetty. So you have bidirectional or directional ESC or telemetry coming off the ESC for dual direction protocols for FreeSky, FTABA, and Jetty. Okay, so if you have a protocol like FPort, I might mess around with FPort a little bit to see if it works. But allegedly, you can get a voltage, current, temperature, and a couple other parameters off the ESC for telemetry. And of course, the other thing, being in Florida, that I really appreciate on these bigger ESCs is a cooling fan. So that mounts right on top. And then when you're not programming, the fan will just simply plug in right there. There's a label right there for the fan. Of course, the camera's confused about what to focus on. So can we get it to focus? There it is. There's the fan lead right there. And then notice the T right there, that's for telemetry. So if you're going to feed telemetry, you can do it via this wire, and there's your fan wire right there. Okay. The bullets are already, again, soldered on for you. The only thing you have to do is solder your battery connector on. And in my case, I'll be using XT90s because I use 6 cells on these. So pretty much the ESC is pretty much ready to go out of the cage. And then one other thing I like about these ESCs, you have screw mounts for the fan. So 3-hole screws right there for your fan. And then they also include right there, those holes are for your cable ties or zip ties. So you can zip tie it down to the platform that you're using. So very nice, very, very nicely done, and all metal case. And I like the cut and finish on this one too. So everything matches. You know, it's kind of a nice little match set with the gunmetal gray and the anodized red. Very cool looking setup. I like it a lot. Okay, so that's the hardware, and then of course for the rest of it, you've got, you know, the washer for the propeller, the prop nut, the locking prop nut, a couple more spacer type washers, and then bullets if you need to use bullets, and a little bit of heat shrink. So just a basic hardware bag, and I already mentioned you got the capacitor and a couple of mounting screws. So that's it for the hardware. Now, what I'd like to do is give you a look at the website real quick, and let's see, we covered the motor. Pricing. Yeah, let's do pricing real quick. So in terms of pricing, I showed you the pricing for the individual elements. So, oops, here we go. The pricing for the individual elements, you got $149 on the ESC, $129 on the motor. And then if you want to buy the combo, the AM600 combo with the ESC, a 16x8 pair of props, and the AMLINK is $299. And then if you just want so you don't have to buy the AMLINK every time. If you just want the motor with the ESC and the prop, that's $259. And I mentioned about the prop, but I already covered that. It was intended, this section I was intended to show you the flex on the prop, and we already kind of covered that. This is the more standard propeller, a little bit more flexy. That was why I wrote about the prop in there. I wanted to make sure I showed you that. And then if you're into the 525 kV, which is what I got, you can get that one, or the 555, same price, no change of price on the two different kV specifications for this motor. Okay, so that's it for the material. Now I'll give you a look at the website so you know what you're looking for, and I'll also let you know I have these links in the description. So if you'd like to go to the website and take a look at the software or the combo packages, these links are in the description for you. So here's a look at the combos right here. Here is a look at the AM600 combo. Again, $259. You got the 525 option, the 555 option, and then if you want, you can add the AMLINK. Okay, so when you add the AMLINK, it jumps up to $299. And then I also wanted to show you the 670 combo. And just to show you guys, so there's no mistaking what's going on here. Let's see. So there's no mistake what's going on. I'll also be adding another AM116. So just so you know, there's another AM116 right there, right here. And this is going to be going into another EF plane that I'm working on right now. So there's an AM670 motor. And basically, this is the same combo, right? I just used a different prop. I got a carbon fiber prop. So the AM670, the AM116, that's for a different airframe. And this is the sponsored hardware for the AM600 and the AM116. So there's no confusion. I'm digging the T-motor equipment, okay? So I just, you know, that I guess it's the best I can do is to tell you I'm putting it in my stuff, right? That I'm not going to try and tell you anything other than that. I'm putting it in my stuff. So I do like it. My experience with it has been very good. Okay, we'll go back to the workspace, and there is the 670 combo if you want to get that, $324. And then you've got options there for 480 kV and a 520 kV, and that's about it. So the ESC, if you want to buy that individually, there's the AM116. That's the individual AMC at $149. Sorry, the original ESC at $149. And then if you want to buy the AM600 motor independently without the ESC, there you go, $129. You can do that as well. And the cool part, so far on their website, all this stuff was in stock. So I thought that was kind of cool because you obviously can't do that all the time. You know, I'm trying to do a live stream and Google decides just to talk. So my Google Hub, you know, just talking, just interrupting me, being uncool about things. Okay. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and I'm gonna take a look and see if there are any questions really quickly. And if there aren't any that I have to cover in here, I'm just gonna move on. Carbon props are fantastic until they touch something. Yeah, no kidding. That's the idea, is keep the carbon off of things. All right. I don't see any questions I need to get into. So let's get into the cool part. So this is why you guys come to RC Video Reviews, right? Because we don't just stop at showing you the unbox. We're gonna do some tech. And the reason I wanted to do the tech was because I couldn't find a lot of really good information out there. So I thought I would give it to you. I'd give you the good information. So what I'm going to do is, there's the ESC. I want to give you guys a few little notes, and we're going to start plugging some things in. So what I plan on doing here is I'm going to use my desktop power supply. I'm just going to connect to the power leads for where the battery would normally go, because I haven't soldered on an XT90 yet. So we'll put that on. And the next thing I want to do is show you guys the connections, because again, not a lot of good information out there on the connections. So let's see, telemetry, you don't need that. I'm going to take the telemetry lead off, and all that we're left with is this is the single wire that you normally would use for your throttle, okay? So this is your BEC output, positive and negative, and that's your signal for throttle. So we're going to use that, and we are going to plug that in on the programming port. So when you look at the bottom of the AM-LINK, there's two sides. So what you want to pay attention to is, and you know what? I wonder if I have it right. I think I have it right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's right here. It's the programming port. If I don't have it right, we're going to have to fix it, but that's what I think it is. So we'll try. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the workspace, and I'm going to bring up, I'm going to show you guys a couple of quick things. I have links for this in the description as well. T-Motor puts an archive out on the ESC page that has the software you need to configure the AM116 with your computer. Okay, so in that zip file, they include the CP. These are the bridge drivers, the CP2110 drivers. 21210 VCP drive, virtual COM port drivers. So they include those, the installer, and everything you need to install that if you don't already have it. Most of you who are configuring things, if you do anything with Arduino or anything with an FTDI dongle or a ELRS recovery dongle or any of that, you probably already have this driver. I didn't have to install it, okay? My computer is already set up for it. And then they also include the BL Heli suite, although the one they include in the archive on the website is slightly outdated. As of this video, so this is mid-October 23, the version is 32.9.0.3 in the archive, but the latest version for download is .5. So very close, but I just wanted to point it out, a little bit different. And you don't have to install the BL Heli tool, just an archive, you just run it. Okay, so I've already got mine running, and that is right here. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to connect the ESC to the computer. Sorry, I got wires. Of course, I got the wrong wire. There we go, USB-C. And I'm just going to plug that in right there. And you can see the AM-LINK pops on. I will cover these numbers in a little bit. Hang tight on that. We're going to come back to this, so don't go anywhere. We're going to cover that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is apply power to my power supply. And that is on now. I've got it set at 16 volts. That is feeding the two main leads. So this is all we need for connectivity. A USB-C into the AM-LINK on the USB-C side. The standard throttle signal goes into the ESC side on the programming pin right there on the opposite side of USB-C. And then we can go over to BL Heli and we can hit connect. Now, you should have a COM port. You should have a COM port selected already. You know, if everything works correctly, you will have a COM port drop down. On mine, it's already set up. So once you hit connect, then you can read your setup. And there we go. I got it on the right port. Yay, thankfully. And there, ESC setup read successfully. Okay, so now if you've ever done anything in BL Heli, this is going to look instantaneously familiar to you, right? So this is BL Heli. They come with, these are the default values. So if you want, I'll pause right here, let you screen grab this one. If you want to see the default values, I did make one change. And the one change I made was the low voltage protection. it was set to off. I went ahead and set it to 3.3 volts, which simply reduces power to the ESC. That's a good indicator. If you've overrun your batteries, you say, hey, wait a minute, I don't have power. You land right away, and you do that before you lose your plane. So I normally set a low voltage. It is power reduction at 3.3, not cutoff. I don't do cutoff. I just do power reduction. Okay, so 3.3. I'm not going to go through every single one of these because what I'm going to do instead is show you the book. And again, I've got links for this in the description. So we're not going to go through every one of these, but I did want to show you that they actually did a fairly good job walking you through the features of BL Heli configuration. So the product features 32-bit ARM microprocessor running BL Heli 32. Very nice, very fast. And they show you the interface wiring, and then they show you the throttle calibration. This is the beep tones you do when you first power it on. So you've got the ability to do that. And then they walk through the tutorial for setting up the ESC in BL Heli. The one thing I do want to show you is voltage, because it wasn't, even though the book was right in front of my face, it wasn't obvious to me right away. So I had to play with it and I checked it, but I will show you how to set the output voltage. And other than that, I'm not going to sit here and read you guys the description on the book. It's all here. So make your choices, right? Get the book, read through it. But everything that you need to know about setting your BL Heli configuration is right here. Low voltage protection, current protection. Here's a low voltage thing I changed. It can be set between 2.5 and 4. When this is enabled, it will limit power applied to the motor if the battery voltage drops below the program threshold. All right, I do that because in the event I go below 3.3, I would like the airplane to tell me before I drain the battery completely. So that's why I do that. So here are all the different settings you can use in BL Heli. Again, not going to read through them. All those settings are right here in BL Heli. So if you make a change, for example, let's say you want to set your low voltage protection to, I don't know, 3.2, you simply click Write Setup, and the setup will be written. Okay. Now the next thing I want to show you guys is voltage, because again, this one was not immediately obvious to me. So I want to show you guys what's going on with voltage. And this has to do with your BEC voltage. So I've got my meter set up with a male socket, right? Yeah, that's a male socket. So I'm going to unplug the lead from the ESC, and I'm going to plug it into my meter, and we'll see 8.22 volts. So the BEC right now is configured for 8.22 volts. Okay. So we'll unplug that. We will plug this back in. I want to make sure I get that right. So okay, white goes inboard. So there we go. We plug that back in. Now, to change this, notice that I lost my connection. So everything here is lost. You have to hit read setup again because I just unplugged the lead that gives me the setup. But once I hit read setup, you can come up here and here are the options to change your BEC voltage. So it says LED control. That's where you change your voltage. Okay, so if we click this one on and this one off, that gives us the 5 volt value. I think it's 5.4. We'll measure it. So it's like 5.4 volts. Now we hit Write Setup. Okay, so if you just want 5 volts out of your BEC, that's all you have to do. You unplug it, and then you plug it into your meter and check your output. And there we go. We got 5.8 volts. Okay, now the next one is 7.4 volts. So I'm just going to plug this back in, and we're going to read the setup real quick. So read the setup. And it takes a second. And then all we do is we turn off the blue light and we turn on the red light right in the middle. Okay, so it's 5, 7, and 8. That's how it works. Okay, so the middle one is 7 volts. Now we're going to write that out. And once we've done that, we can disconnect, plug it back into our meter, and we'll see 7.4 volts. And then to finish it off, we'll go back up to 8. See, I told you guys, you don't get this stuff on other channels. I'm the only one crazy enough to do this stuff live. All right, so, looks like the setup stayed that time. So we'll hit, it's probably because I left that dialog box open. So anyway, I put the green one back on, turn off the red. We'll hit Write Setup. I'm going to leave that dialog box on. And then we'll unplug real quick, and we'll connect, and we'll be back to 8 volts on the meter. Okay, so that's how you change your BEC voltage if you want to do that. So if you're using, two supplies like a battery and the BEC, setting it at 8.4, 8.2 would not be a terrible idea. Not a bad idea. Okay, so that's it. Now I told you I would explain what's going on with the interface here And I'm going to plug the ESC back in, and we're going to disconnect it from the computer. And I'm also going to power cycle the ESC. So I just turned off the power real quick. That's all I did. And I'm going to get my meter out of the way because we don't need that anymore. But I wanted to walk you through the configuration options on the AMLINK, because one thing I could not find, I asked T-Motor about this. I asked for a link to the manual for this AMLINK, but I couldn't find one. So I had to do some research to figure this out. And here's what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to turn this back on. Now, the AMLINK gets its power from the throttle lead coming off the ESC. So remember, very simple configuration, right? This is just the signal, the throttle lead coming off the ESC, and that is into, it says ESC, and it's on the bottom port, okay? So that's the same place we were plugged in when we were working with BL Heli. Okay, so there are basically three settings on here. You have number 1, number 2, and number 3. Number 1 refers to poles. Number 2 refers to the multi-ID. That's in case you're using multiple ESCs for telemetry. I won't be doing that, but you can use multiple IDs for telemetry if you choose to. So maybe you have a dual motor or quad motor model, and you have 4 ESCs. You can assign an ID to each one, and you can pull telemetry from all 4 depending on your protocol. And then the third option, 3, indicates the telemetry setting. 3.1 indicates FreeSky, 3.2 indicates FTABA, and 3.3 indicates Jetty. I'll show you how to change these settings now. So you long press, and when you do that, the very first option is 1. That indicates poles. 20 indicates 20 poles. The AM600 is a 20-pole motor. So I can change it to 24 poles, 26, and it's going to cycle through back down to 4. So we go to 20 poles. So we're a 20-pole motor. We'll set that at 20, and then I'm going to long press, and now we're on 2. And 2, remember, indicates the ID for multi-ESC. So this will go all the way up to 28, by the way. So it'll cycle through all the way through to 28. So once we hit 28, we go back around. Now we're back to 01. Okay, so you only need to worry about that if you're using multiple ESCs. Once you have that set the way you want it, you long press again, and you get to the telemetry version you're using. Number 1 is FreeSky, short press for number 2, FTABA, short press for number 3, Jetty, and then you short press again, it goes back to number 1. And then when you're done, you long press, and that's it. It's set. So that's all you can set with the AMLINK programmer. You can set the number of poles, which, by the way, that I'm looking at BL Heli. Let's look at BL Heli. I think that number of poles, I thought it was in here. I'll have to come back and check. I'll tell you what, I'll leave a comment after the video's over. I don't want to hunt for it now. But I thought I saw a number of poles in the BL Heli. But that's it. That's all you can set on this guy. You can set the number of poles, your multi-ID for multi-ESC telemetry, and your telemetry protocol, FreeSky, FTABA, and Jetty. By the way, I don't see a way to set these in BL Heli. So your options are going to be to use the song menu, you know, the stick menu to change it, or the programming card. So if these things are important to you, you might as well get yourself the programming card. I will tell you, when I got mine, the ESC had 24 poles and not 20, and I'm using an AM600, which is 20 poles. I counted the magnets. It is 20 poles. So just throwing that out there. That's what that's for. And then, of course, you can also do the stick menu stuff. I do not have. I'll probably need to dig through the box and see if I can find instructions, but normally it's not too hard to find the stick menu for these if you want to do the song and dance routine with the up and down, so you can do that. I actually did some settings at the field once with one of these ESCs, and it works fine. All right, that is the material. So we've gone through the whole thing. That's the first look, the ESC configuration, the AMLINK, and that's it. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to check comments real quick. I'm going to bring the big camera up. I am going to bring the comments up real quick and let you guys see. If you have a question, now is the time to ask. I'm going to go ahead and start at the top, check for any questions I have to answer, and then we're going to wrap this one up. All right, so let's see. T-Motor's a good bang for the buck. Yeah, David, I know David's a fan of T-Motors. All I can say is that so far on the Yak, it's been very impressive. And I also have this on the 67-inch Edge 260. Extra 260, the extra 260. So T-Motors on both of those. Let's see, 5210 or 480 kV. I'm not sure of the question. Let's see. Drone pilot saw the logo of the prop. That's a nice combo. I have a list of planes. This combo will be great. I will check the shipping cost to Brazil. Yeah. I'll tell you what. So far, my experience with these has been very positive. Very positive. I've been thrilled with the power that I get out of the yak. I mean, the yak, the yak is like got all the power. And of course, if you've watched the videos on the 260, that 260 does exceptionally well too. So yeah, definitely happy with the quality of these. We talked about carbon props already. They got some pretty good smoking deals on single ESC for pick swing. Pick swing. Let's see. Can you make BL Heli a little bit bigger? I'm sorry, Robert, I can't. I actually tried. I did try, and when you grab the corner, the mouse actually changes shape, but when you drag it, it just doesn't move. I guess the other thing I could do is maybe I could make the monitor bigger, I suppose. Could we do that? Does that help? Maybe that would have helped you guys when I was going through it. But anyway, sorry about that. Too late. Let's see. Super easy. A10. Wow. Thanks for the video, John. You're welcome, Elias. Looks beautiful, and all the T motors I have are impressive. Yeah, I've been very happy with the T motors I've had in quads, which is why when I saw them showing up in fixed wing, I was pretty excited about that because they just tend to run well. Very powerful, very clean, very quiet, fairly efficient. So I've been happy with my T motor experience so far. Okay, so next up, this is going to be going in the 60-inch laser V3. I doubt that I'll do a video showing me install it. What I will do is, as I wrap up the install and get ready to button up the cowl, I'll do a little bit of video footage, show you that it's installed in the plane, and then I'll go to the field and we'll fly it. So I'm really looking forward to it because, like I said, I've thoroughly enjoyed the power output on the yak, and the laser is the same size, same class airplane. So I really look forward to checking out the performance on that laser. And as you guys know, that laser, I just adore that plane. I think it's a fantastic airplane. So I'm very excited to get the laser set up with this power combo, no doubt. They got some smoking deals on fixed wing ESCs, fixed wing. Yeah, make sure you check them out. I mean, I think they're making a splash in the fixed wing space. And so far, what I've seen with the AM670 and the 600 that I've used, I've been pleased. So yeah, check them out. And, one other thing that I'll point out that I think is really good about what's going on here is that these products work together. They're designed to work together. So, like, I know if you buy the combo from Extreme Flight, one of the claims they make is, look, no fooling around. You put it in the plane and go. You might want to change your BEC voltage. You might want to change your LiPo cutoff, which, but that's all I really did. And I can tell you that they do work well together. So that's that. Robert says, another great show, John. Great review. Thanks, Robert. I appreciate you. And I hope you guys benefited from, this little teardown or look at the T-Motor combo. Again, I do want to say thanks to T-Motor for including me in the review process and sending this device out for review. I will get it in the airplane just as soon as I can. We'll get out and fly it, and we'll talk about it. And maybe we can get Dave to fly it or something, see what he thinks of it. But that's it. That wraps up the video. That's all I've got. Your voice recognition is about as good as mine. Yeah, my Google Hub's been talking to me the whole time. I finally just unplugged it. They are working on an AM740. I have heard, Greg, I've heard about that, getting into the bigger space. And for what it's worth, I'm going to be putting the 670 on a 70-inch airframe. If they come up with a 70-inch or 74-inch motor, man, that's going to be it. Game over. 67 to 70-inch, that'll be my new sweet spot for fixed wing. That's for sure. All right, I hope you liked the content. If you did, make sure you smash that thumbs up button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know new videos hit the channel. That's all I've got for today. Get out there and fly something.